All right, guys, here we are. Episode number 10. Whoever would have thought a man at the age of 45 would start his own podcast? And hey, don't get me wrong, I can also give credit to my beautiful wife with my nice setup, of course. But guys, what a great weekend of football, and you already know my saying. Let's talk about it. All right, guys, as I said, a lot of great football action this weekend. I am Brutus J, and this is Brutus J Podcast. And folks, I got to tell you, normally I love to start off with college football, but we're going to change it up this weekend because it's a lot of things to talk about in college football, and I figure we'll end on that. But we're going to start with the Broncos and the Jets playing in London, England early this morning. If you were able to catch this game, hey, it was absolutely no offense, just all defense, and the Broncos won this game by the score of 13-11. And I got to tell you, I feel bad for Justin Fields. I just wish this guy was in the right system. I just wish he was. I've been knowing Justin or watching Justin ever since he was at Harrison High School, in Kennesaw, Georgia. He's a lot better than what's going on at the New York Jets. But hopefully things will pick up. Browns were on the road in Pittsburgh where Aaron Rodgers had 2 touchdown passes. One of them was to DK Metcalf, who has been a great addition to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I know my son is just at home clapping his hands, very excited about how the Pittsburgh Steelers have been playing football the past few weeks. Those who want to know, Dylan Gabriel, he had a decent game. He just had to pass the ball a lot. Kid passed the ball 52 times. He was 29 of 52 for like 200 plus yards. Chargers were on the road in Miami where they were able to defeat the Dolphins 29-27 on a last-minute touchdown by Justin Herbert. He really needed that because, coming into this game, the Chargers had lost 2 games in a row. The Patriots were on the road in New Orleans. For those who probably wonder why I'm smiling, I am a big-time Drake May fan. He came from the University of North Carolina where he played with my son. And I will be gladly happy to tweet out about Drake May and the New England Patriots. A little shade though for those who don't get that. But the Patriots were able to win this game 25-19. Drake May had 3 touchdown passes for the second week in a row. So congratulations to the New England Patriots. The Rams were on the road against the Baltimore Ravens. And I got to tell you, the Ravens are struggling without Lamar Jackson. They had 2 quarterbacks in this game and both combined for under 150 yards. Henry had over 100 yards rushing, but it just wasn't enough as the Rams took advantage and won this game 17-3. Cardinals were on the road in Indianapolis against the Colts, where the Colts won the game 31-27. It was a homecoming game for Jacoby Brissett because Tyler Murray didn't play in this game, and he started at quarterback. Had a good game, over 300 yards passing, but it wasn't enough. The Colts won 31-27 with their run game. As usual, the Colts just keep rolling and rolling and rolling. Seahawks were on the road in Jacksonville, where I picked the Jacksonville Jaguars to win this game. Sometimes Sam Darnold just ain't good on the road, but guess what? He proved me wrong. 2 touchdown passes that prevailed the Seahawks over the Jaguars 20-12. But hopefully next week, Trevor Lawrence and Hunter in the gang will get it back together because I love to see Trevor Lawrence be successful. Boys at the Panthers. Let me just tell y'all something. I know a lot of Cowboy fans, and I know it's this talk. They're arrogant. They think they're supposed to win the Super Bowl every single year. Cowboys have the biggest fan base probably in the United States other than the Yankees. And you cannot go to Carolina and lose this game. Dak Prescott had 3 touchdown passes. You lost the game. How did you give up 30 points to the Carolina Panthers? The more and more I see y'all play, the more and more I'm wishing y'all would have never traded Michael Parsons. But as I said, the Cowboys were defeated by Carolina 30-27. A lot of people going to have fun with that one. Titans on the road against the Raiders, and the Raiders were able to win in this game 20-10. Not much to talk about in this game. Both of these teams are pretty much even in my opinion, but as I said, the Raiders were able to pull off this victory. 49ers were on the road against Tampa Bay, where I picked the 49ers, to get another statement win, but Baker Mayfield continues to prove not only me wrong, but a lot of people wrong. He is playing MVP football just like Dak Prescott, except the Buccaneers and Baker Mayfield are winning, and they defeated the 49ers 30-19. Packers and the Bengals in Green Bay faced off where the Packers won this game 27-18. As I said, no Joe Burrow, no Bengals win. Joe Flacco made a start the other day. For people who don't know, the Cleveland Browns traded Flacco to the Bengals in the absence of Joe Burrow, but it wasn't enough, and the Packers won this game 27-18. The spread in that game was like 13 and a half, 14 points. I figured the Packers would win by more than that, but as I said, Jordan Love continues to be inconsistent. Continues to be inconsistent, but that pretty much wraps up the entire NFL weekend, other than you have the Bills and the Falcons playing Monday night, and also you have the Bears and the Commanders playing Monday night. So we got 2 Monday night games, man. Y'all need to get home early, have a Monday night meal and watch 2 great games. Also, currently right now, the Detroit Lions are defeating the Chiefs 10-6. That game is in the second quarter with 9 minutes left. And I figured the Detroit Lions are going to win this game. That was my pick. All right, folks, man, I got to tell you, what a weekend of college football. And when I tell you, it was a lot of people who got their heartbreaks in Auburn, or should I say Opelika, what they like to call it, wherever Auburn is. But yeah, it was a lot that happened. We're going to start in Baton Rouge, where LSU was able to defeat South Carolina 20-10. Now, folks, I watched this game, and everybody know how I feel about, Nussmeier, right now. He hasn't been playing good ball. Now, what I will say is this right here. I saw a little bit of the arm strength that came back this week. Some of the throws were NFL throws, and then some were just mind-blowing throws like, what are you doing? I feel like LSU should have won this game by more, but then again, South Carolina was tough. And the only reason they was tough is because of their quarterback. When I tell you Sellers is a beast, he is a beast. This kid will not get sacked. He just ain't going to get sacked. Either the ball getting thrown away, or when you try to sack him, it's going to be hard to bring him down. And I tell you, all night long, this guy was like a thorn in LSU. But if they had more, if South Carolina had more, they probably could have won this game. But LSU was able to win this game 20-10. Their offensive line still got to get a lot better. And they travel on the road next week to Vanderbilt, which is going to be a tough, tough game. And guess who's going to be there? Yours truly. All right, Ohio State was on the road in Illinois. Well, a game where I said it. What Illinois love to do is what Ohio State loves to stop, and that's what they did. And they won this game by the score of 34-16. Don't let the score fool you. It wasn't close at all. But Ohio State, another dominant performance. Indiana and Oregon. I watched this game, and hey, I'll say it once and I'll say it again. Kurt Cignetti is one of the best coaches in college football. Doesn't recruit 5 stars, 4 stars, 3 stars, 2 stars. He don't look at stars. He bring them in and he develop them. I wish every coach can be like that, but we know it doesn't work like that. But I really hope he stays at Indiana. But some stuff that's happened this weekend that we're going to talk about a little later that may prevent him, that may have him probably to leave Indiana. But I hope he stays at Indiana, because what's going on in Indiana right now, nobody expected. So, build your own program, that make a name for them. You don't have to go somewhere else that already got a name, but we're going to talk about that a little later. But Indiana, they won this game by the score of 30-20 over Oregon. That crowd was loud, but it didn't affect Indiana. It did not affect Indiana. Washington State at Ole Miss. And folks, I thought we were going to have an upset. I really thought we was going to have an upset. Trinidad Chambers, he still looked good. He had 3 touchdown passes, 20 for 29. I mean, the kid, hey, he's in the Heisman discussion. Just like Indiana quarterback, he's in the Heisman discussion. I mean, he looked pretty good. But nobody had any idea that this game was going to be 24-21. Ole Miss was favored in this game by 31 points. I said it was too many points, but I did not think it was going to be this close. And they were this close to getting upset, but they was able to prevail. Texas A&M at home against Florida, and they won this game by the score of 34-17. In the beginning of that game, you would have thought how Florida drove down that field that they were gonna have an upset because Lagway looked good. He actually looked pretty decent the whole game, but Florida just didn't have enough for Marcel Reed. Marcel Reed, that's another kid, top of the Heisman talk right now. I mean, a lot of people talking about him. There's a lot of people, in this Heisman race. All right, Texas. Hey, a lot of people thought Oklahoma was going to win this game, but Texas won this game 23-6. I just feel like Oklahoma rushed John Mattel back. They rushed him because when you look at some of those throws he was making, they just didn't make sense. He was overthrowing. He had 2 interceptions. Texas defense, they looked dominant, but I think they looked dominant, and they took advantage because of John Mattel. Yep, I feel like if they would have went with their backup, not saying they would have won, but the game probably would have been closer than what it was. But yeah, Texas, good bounce back win for them. Arch Manning, if those who want to know about him, decent game. He didn't have a game where people were gonna be hyping him up, hyping him back up. But he had a decent game enough to have Texas win it 23-6. So congratulations to the Longhorns on the big win. Alabama on the road at Missouri. And folks, this was a slobber knocker from the beginning to the end. Alabama, they escaped with one. But you just got to give credit to Ty Simpson, man. A lot of people doubted Ty Simpson. And really, if you think about it, in the loss to Florida State, he still played a good game. Bama defense just lost that game for them. But Alabama is just a totally different team, all around. So they were able to escape in Missouri. They snapped a 15-game home winning streak, by the way, with Missouri. So 27-24 Alabama over Missouri. Texas Tech, 42-17 over Kansas. Man, they just keep rolling, man. I mean, the numbers for that game, man, with Texas Tech, I'm talking about their running backs. I mean, just flat out, they got game breakers all over the place. Ain't nobody talking about them right now, but I'm telling you, sooner or later they will. Cameron Dickey had 21 carries for 263 yards. As a team, they ran for 372 yards. So, yeah, they want to be reckoned with. Sooner or later, people are going to start talking about them. All right. Georgia at Auburn. Whew, if you're an Auburn fan, just breathe in right now. Just breathe in. All right, I'm with y'all, Auburn. I saw it. That was a touchdown. Y'all got robbed. But I'm going to just say this right here. You can't say if y'all would have scored, y'all would have won that game. Even without him scoring, the whole second half, Georgia shut y'all out. They shut you out. Shut you out, period. That defense put a clamp down on Jackson Arnold and company. And I said it. If you can't get Coleman involved, if you can't get him involved, you're not going to win the game. And Jackson Arnold, decent game the first half, but the second half, you were completely shut out. And so, hey, you got to give credit to where credit's due. Kirby, he made an adjustment, and Georgia won the game. That's enough said, in my opinion. Tennessee against Arkansas at home. They won that game 34-31. At one point, Tennessee was just destroying Arkansas, but they made a last minute comeback end of the third and in the fourth quarter. Almost had a chance to win this game, but Tennessee was able to close it out at the end and defeat Arkansas 34-31. And Bobby Petrino's first game back as a head coach in Arkansas. Georgia Tech on the road, at home against Virginia Tech, won that game 35-20. The Rambling Wreck, hey, they continue to roll, undefeated, under the radar. Schedule's going to get a little bit tougher, but as I said before, every game left on their schedule, Georgia Tech can win. I wouldn't doubt, folks, if Georgia Tech went undefeated. Not saying they are, but as I said, every game on their schedule is winnable. Michigan on the road in USC. I picked Michigan to win this game. I don't know what happened. USC won this game 31-13. What I do not understand, and I'm gonna say it again. How in the world did Justice Haynes just have 10 carries? He had 10 carries. Jordan Marshall had 14 carries. If anybody can give me an update on that game, I don't know if Justice Haynes got hurt or what, but I know he should have carried the ball more than that. So I don't know what was up with that. But the Trojans were able to win this game by the score of 31-13. Notre Dame at home against NC State. And I said it and I say it again. NC State cannot win on the road. If this game would have been at home, not saying they would have won, but it would have been a lot closer. They just don't play well on the road. And Notre Dame ran, and CJ Carr also had a fantastic night, passing over 300 yards to help the Notre Dame Irish defeat the NC State Wolfpack again, 36-7. YU was on the road against Arizona, where they won 33-27. Another team under the radar, undefeated. Sooner or later, people going to start talking about them. Looks like in that Big 12, you're going to have BYU colliding with Texas Tech. That's the way it looks, folks. Arizona State on the road in Utah. Yes, I did choose Arizona State to defeat Utah. I don't know what I was thinking. I heard the Arizona State quarterback was hurt, so I guess I can use that as an excuse. But Utah blew out Arizona State by the score of 42-10. And how about Prime and Iowa State? Now, I picked Ohio State. I don't know why I keep having Ohio State on my mind. I guess maybe because they're just so dominant. But Iowa State defeated Colorado. Oh, did I say that? Defeated Iowa State 24-17. How about that for Coach Prime? I was listening to him, after this game, and he said, now I can go and get something to eat. Because, when you're losing, you don't want to go nowhere and get nothing to eat because you don't want to hear nobody say what happened. But now, when you win and you go get something to eat, you happy to hear somebody say, hey, great win, Prime. I tell you, they needed it. So that's a good win. Shout out to, Colorado Buffaloes and Coach Prime on the big win, a big top 25 win, 24-17. It was on the road in Florida State. So what we thought was going to happen in Miami has happened to Florida State. I guess we can stop talking about that because, Florida State has now lost 3 games in a row, people. They lost to Pittsburgh 34-31. So I guess we can say maybe a decent bowl game, but all the national championship and conference championship, I guess we can say that's done. Yep, that is done. Yep. So it looks like that game of Florida State season, national championship season is done with. Now, let's talk about Penn State at home against Northwestern. For those who don't know, this was Penn State's 3rd straight loss. They lost to Northwestern at home 22-21. Before the game, the fans were yelling out, "Fire James Franklin." And at the end of the game, they were yelling, "Fire James Franklin." I watched that game, and then at the end, I watched, Coach James Franklin, leaving the stadium, going to the back. I saw him with his family hugging, and the fans still chanting. You really hate to see stuff like that. Is it time for Penn State to move on? Yes, it is time for Penn State to move on. The guy has been there 12 years, but if a lot of you don't remember, before James Franklin took over Penn State, it was a lot going on, particularly, with the scandal at Penn State. And I'm not even going to elaborate over all that, horrific stuff that happened at Penn State. But James Franklin did a fantastic job of moving away from all that. 12 years is a long time. Do I think it's a lot he could have did to improve that team? Yes. He had a lot of guys that he got out of that transfer portal, including, a kid from the Cartersville area, Mr. Devontae Ross, who's been a good addition to Penn State this year, but it just hasn't been enough, and unfortunately, as I said, James Franklin is unemployed for the moment, but I guarantee you somebody will be on the phone trying to get that guy ASAP. But I can tell you now, the athletic director at Penn State, everybody there right now is trying to get Kurt Signetti from Indiana. They're definitely going to be trying to get him. He is going to be number one on everybody's list. And do I think he's going to leave Indiana? Money talks. Money definitely talks. I mean, everybody got a soft spot for money. If I was him, on the other hand, I would probably want to stay at Indiana because he got something special going on at Indiana. But again, that's a very sad situation. Nobody wants to see something like that happen, especially if that was my dad. I noticed his daughter crying. If that was my dad and I heard hundreds of thousands of fans chanting that, I would be hurt and upset by it as well. But James Franklin will be okay. So, hopefully soon he'll be getting a phone call to coach again. I think personally he's going to end up coming back to the SEC. I like James Franklin when he was in the SEC because for years, nobody was talking about Vanderbilt like that. When James Franklin was at Vanderbilt, he really kind of put them on the map. And now you got another guy in Clark Lee doing the same thing. So, we can say that James Franklin started something. And to be honest, when he came at Penn State was down for a while. He brought them back. So, yeah. But hopefully, as I said, James will get back, in the coaching circle, which I'm pretty sure he will. But folks, man, I tell you, 10 episodes. 10 episodes. I never would have thought, that at my age, at the age of 45, and I heard somebody say, everybody got a podcast. Everybody got a podcast. Everybody does have a podcast, but you have to understand, for people who love, like, everybody got their own thing what they love to talk about. And when you add in a podcast and whatever it is you like and you love to talk about, it means a lot. I mean, when I tell you every Thursday, every Friday, every Sunday, and it's going to end up being more days, I can tell you that now because I have urges, people. When I tell you I have urges to get on this microphone, I have urges. I could be in the car. I can be eating dinner. I can be eating breakfast. I always have these thoughts coming in my mind, to get back on this mic because I cannot wait. I love it. It's really fun doing something that you love to do. And again, I've been wanting to do this for years, and technology is so different now. You can just do it in your home. I know y'all heard me say that, and I'm gonna continue to say it because it's true. I love my setup. As a lot of you, you see all my LSU stuff back here, and I just had a birthday, and my wife, she made me a little Brutus J podcast sign over here. I love that woman. Shout out to Kimberly. Love you, girl. But 10th episode has been a blast, and there's a lot going on this week. For those who don't know, I love to get on here on Friday nights and talk high school football. I don't put all my high school stuff on like nationally, like as far as Apple Podcasts and all that, with the college and the NFL stuff. Because again, nationally, a lot of people don't know about high school football teams in this area or whatever. But every Friday, I make a video about high school football, and it's starting to get cold, and it's going to be a lot of great high school football games coming up real soon. And, of course, this weekend, you already know, more college football and more NFL that we are going to talk about. And, of course, Thursday, I am going to preview Saturday and Sunday as far as college football and the NFL. But until then, y'all already know, enjoy your week. Don't work too hard. Work smarter, not harder. And I will see you all come Thursday and Friday and Sunday. Have a good week, y'all.